Silence is dangerous, not because it says nothing, but because it often says everything. Most men are taught to speak faster, explain more, and prove themselves constantly. They believe power comes from saying the perfect thing at the perfect time. But real power? Real power often comes when you say nothing. Because silence, when used strategically, is not weakness. It's control, it's discipline, it's mystery. In a world where everyone is desperate to be heard, the man who knows when to stay silent becomes harder to manipulate. Today, you'll understand why strategic silence can create respect, reveal truth, and protect your power. Most people talk too much, not because they're confident, but because they're uncomfortable. Silence exposes insecurity. It forces people to sit with uncertainty, and uncertainty makes weak people panic. So they rush to fill the gap with explanations, defenses, oversharing, and emotional reactions. They reveal too much. They negotiate against themselves. They give away power. Strategic silence is different. It's not awkwardness. It's not passivity. It's calculated. It's knowing that sometimes the less you say, the more others reveal. Think about skilled interrogators. They ask one question, then stay silent. That silence becomes unbearable, and people start talking. They explain too much. They confess. They expose themselves. This doesn't only happen in interrogation rooms. It happens in dating, business, arguments, friendships. The first person who loses control of silence often loses control of the situation. When someone insults you, most people react instantly. They defend themselves, they argue, they try to win. But strategic silence shifts the entire dynamic. Imagine someone disrespects you, and you simply look at them. Calm, unbothered, unshaken, no rush, no emotional reaction, just silence. That silence can be more unsettling than anger, because now they don't control your emotions, and many people provoke others only to feel powerful. Take away their reaction, and you take away their power. This is why strong men don't respond to everything. Not every insult deserves energy. Not every misunderstanding deserves explanation. Not every accusation deserves defense. Some people feed off reactions. Silence starves them. In dating, many men ruin attraction by over-explaining. A woman pulls back, and he instantly chases. Did I do something wrong? Are you upset? He thinks pressure creates clarity, but often it creates weakness. Strategic silence doesn't mean manipulation or childish games. It means not reacting from fear. It means giving space without losing dignity. When you chase instantly, you communicate anxiety. When you remain composed, you communicate self-respect. Silence also reveals truth faster than constant questioning. When you stop chasing, stop forcing, and stop over-explaining, people show you exactly where they stand. Some come closer, some disappear. Both are answers. Silence removes illusion. Actions become louder than promises. In negotiation, silence is one of the strongest tools possible. Many people hear an offer and immediately start talking. They justify, they lower standards, they rush because silence feels uncomfortable. But powerful negotiators know this. Say what needs to be said, then stop talking. Let silence do the work. The other person often reveals more, offers more, or adjusts simply to escape the tension. But silence is not avoidance. Strategic silence is not fear. It's not running from confrontation. It's controlled presence. You are aware. You are observing. You are choosing not to waste energy. There's a huge difference between silence because you're afraid and silence because you're disciplined. This requires emotional control, because when ego feels attacked, many people rush to prove themselves immediately. But maturity teaches something powerful. You do not have to attend every argument you're invited to. You do not need to explain yourself to everyone. You do not need instant validation. Some of the strongest moves happen when you let people underestimate you. Let them assume. Let them talk. Let them misunderstand. While they're forming opinions, you're building results. No loud defense. No desperate explanation. Just action. Then let success speak. Strategic silence also protects you from manipulation. Manipulators study reactions. They test insecurities. They search for emotional triggers. But when you control your silence, you become harder to provoke, harder to read, harder to control. Not everyone deserves access to your emotions. Not everyone deserves your explanation. This doesn't mean becoming cold. It means becoming selective. You speak with purpose, not compulsion. And when you do speak, your words carry more weight because they are not wasted. Look at truly confident leaders. They rarely rush. They pause. They think. They understand that confidence is not speed. Confidence is certainty. A desperate man rushes. A powerful man remains composed. Even in friendships, silence reveals truth. If you always initiate, always entertain, and always maintain the connection, what happens when you stop? Who reaches out? Who notices? Silence exposes convenience. Some people value you only when you provide attention. Withdraw, and reality appears. Silence also has internal power. Modern life is loud. Constant opinions, constant pressure, constant reaction. But silence sharpens thought. It creates clarity. Many people make bad decisions not because they're foolish, but because they react too quickly. Emotion demands urgency. Wisdom demands pause. Strategic silence creates space between feeling and action, and that space can change your life. When angry, silence can save relationships. Words spoken in rage often create damage that apologies cannot erase. Sometimes silence is not surrender, it's restraint. It's choosing control over destruction. And yes, silence creates mystery. When you explain everything, you become predictable. When you constantly reveal yourself, you remove curiosity. But when you are measured, calm, and intentional, people pay attention. They often respect what they cannot easily control. Of course, this must be ethical. Strategic silence is not the toxic silent treatment. It's not punishment. It's not emotional abuse. True silence is clarity, not cruelty. So how do you build it? First, delay reactions. Not every message deserves instant response. Not every insult deserves defense. Second, get comfortable with pauses. Learn to think before speaking. Third, observe more. People reveal themselves when you stop interrupting. Fourth, move quietly. Stop announcing every plan. Build privately. Let results speak. Every time you choose silence over impulse, you strengthen discipline. And discipline is power. Imagine two men facing criticism. One explodes instantly. The other pauses, thinks, and responds calmly, or not at all. Which one seems stronger? Strength has never been loudness. Strength is stability. Silence teaches patience too. Many people ruin opportunities because they cannot tolerate discomfort. They push too soon, react too fast, force outcomes. But sometimes, silence allows life to unfold in your favor naturally. In romance, silence after disrespect can be stronger than begging. In business, silence after an offer can increase value. In conflict, silence after provocation can shift power. But perhaps the greatest power of silence is freedom. When you no longer feel the need to constantly explain yourself, you break free from approval addiction. You stop performing. You stop reacting. You start choosing. So next time life tests you, pause. When insulted, pause. When pressured to prove yourself, pause. When tempted to overshare, pause. Ask yourself, is this response necessary, or am I just uncomfortable with silence? Because silence is not emptiness, it is space. And in that space, you regain control. The world trains people to talk. Strategic men train themselves to observe. The loudest person is rarely the strongest. Often, the strongest is the one who speaks only when his words improve the silence. Master that, and your presence will speak before you do. Final thought. Silence is not the absence of power. It is power, disciplined.